Hi, everyone. My name is Valerie Friedlander, and I'm your host for Motherhood Unlimited, the #1 summit for moms who want it all. Welcome, and thank you for joining us. It is our mission to take the limits off motherhood and empower moms to have it all for their own unique and vibrant life. We believe that when moms learn to create where, who, and how they want to be, their happiness and overall life satisfaction increases, and they become inspired and inspirational for their children and each other. Today, we are talking about how to look like a million for considerably less. Our expert is Nancy Nix-Rice. I invited her to share with you because of her dedication to helping women feel wonderful about their appearance and increase their self-esteem. Thank you so much for being here with us today, Nancy.
You are so welcome. It's a pleasure.
Fabulous. So before we get started, let me tell you a little bit about Nancy. Nancy has been helping other women dress their best without stress for over 25 years. She believes that every woman deserves to feel great about their appearance, regardless of her age, her lifestyle, her bank balance, or the size tag in her pants. She is the author of the book, Looking Good Every Day, a consumer favorite, and also the textbook at top fashion schools across the country. Although she's now an empty nester, Nancy still recalls fondly her days with 3 little ones, ages 4 and under. Wow. Yeah, that's awesome. So tell us a little bit about your journey to taking the limits off of motherhood.
Well, my work as a wardrobe consultant dates back really to my earliest days as a new mom. I took a slightly non-traditional path and launched into motherhood at the age of 39 3/4. And with all that catching up to do, I figured why start with just one baby when it's possible to have 2 at a time. So you can just about imagine what a kink that put into my wonderful, glamorous, full-time travel job. So I looked around and said, okay, I know about clothes, I know about people and the psychology of all of that. What could I do with that gave me a flexible schedule to be home with my twins and ultimately with, oh yes, their baby brother. Not what I asked for my 44th birthday, but after he arrived, I was glad we had him most of the time. And wardrobe consulting was the obvious thing that popped out as something that I could do that really gave me a great feeling about my contribution in the world and let me flex my career around the evolving schedules of my kids who are now grown. I am, as you said, an empty nester, but only for about the last 2 weeks.
Wonderful. So it's so good to have you here with us, and I'm really looking forward to hearing more about how do we feel good in our clothes again. I mean, as someone who's a relatively new mom myself, there's always this thing when you come home and you think that when you come home from having a baby, suddenly you're going to be fitting in your clothes, and then of course that's not the case, and there's a flexible amount of time before you do fit. But even afterwards, I've found that a lot of the clothes that I used to wear, I don't like anymore. They just don't suit me in some ways. And it's like my body has shifted, my styles have shifted, like all of that. So, but I also don't want to break the bank trying to change my wardrobe around. So tell us, what do we do about that?
Well, let's start by acknowledging that this is not a process that happens from the outside in. It's really a process that starts first in our heads, then inside our clothes, and works its way out. So one of the smartest things that a friend told me when I was that frantic new mom with 2 babies at home, she told me about her cat who had had kittens and made the comment that if her cat wasn't well fed, then those kittens weren't going to be well fed and taken care of. And I took that as an analogy for understanding that it's not just okay, but really a must that we take care of ourselves. You can only be as happy a mom as you are a happy person to start with. I read a really interesting statistic once that said that the average American woman literally sees her reflection, intentionally or accidentally, more than 50 times every day, which means that that's 50 times that you either go, yes, or you go, ah, no, this is terrible, what's happened to my life. There's really a huge payoff for making an intelligent investment, more so in effort really than in dollars, in putting together a system that lets you look your best. Mm-hmm. Now, I mentioned it needed to start from the inside out. In terms of our wardrobe, that means underwear first. And when you talk about things changing, one of the things that changes so dramatically often after we have children, even when we're well past the nursing stage, is that our top is not the same top that it used to be. In fact, I shared my outline for this class with a friend who's also a new mom, and the first thing she wrote back to me was, "Oh my gosh, thank you. I've been searching for a decent bra for the last 14 weeks. So let me share some recommendations and mention that there are places that I'll tell you that it's not important to spend a lot of money. A great bra is not one of those places. Awesome. I strongly recommend a particular retailer called Soma Intimates, and that's S-O-M-A. And it's a foreign language word, I think, that means sleep or rest or relaxation. But they have this amazing bra called the Vanishing Back Bra. And it's a wider back and smooth. It doesn't have an elastic edge on it, so it's not going to make lumps and bumps across the back of you. And it's not going to slice into any of that soft tissue that you might find. By the way, a lot of this is how you talk about things, so I don't want you to ever call it back fat. It's soft tissue, okay? It also puts the strap adjustment here in the front where it's smoother, it's not making a lump, and you have access for it. For crying out loud, why should you have to take your bra off to adjust the straps? Yeah, can't do it. And it hooks in the front. And it's a nice, generous cup so that you don't have what professional bra fitters call the double bubble effect, where there's the edge of the cup, it cuts a little bit into your soft tissue and causes a second bulge right above the edge. It completely eliminates all that. It comes in black, nude, and an assortment of fashion colors, but I typically steer people toward the nude one because if your underwear matches or relates to the color of your skin, no matter what color you're wearing over it, you're not going to get that shadow through effect. So if you're trying to get by with just one or two until perhaps you return to a smaller size, the nude is definitely the one to go for. Now, we also know that our top is not the only part of us that may not be as toned in those early years of motherhood as it was before. So you'll also want to know about the companion panty to that. It's called the Vanishing Edge panty. And again, it's a fabric that doesn't require a separate elastic sewn on to the leg and the waistband edges to keep it in place. So it doesn't dig into your skin and make an indentation, nor does it make a bulge from that elastic. So there's no panty lines whatsoever. Now, there are various styles in that, but the one I like is called the Modern Brief. So it's not granny panties, but it's also not so skimpy that it's going to hit in any awkward spot. Any other underwear things that you can think of that we want to touch on?
Oh my gosh. I mean, I think that those are the biggest things. The bra is kind of key.
Kind of critical.
Good in front of, I mean, it's something I've never enjoyed shopping for as someone who's a little bustier and just stand and stare at everything. So I love the recommendation. I went and got my pen myself just because, like these are great to have. So,
and one of the great things about Soma is that they really do have salespeople who are professionally trained to help you find the right fit. If you're shopping at Target for a bra, there's nobody there. If you're shopping at a department store, so often those people rotate among departments. And I joke that the person who's helping you in bras today might have been in toasters yesterday. So her definition of popping up might be a little different from what you're looking for. But the gals at Soma really do know what they're doing, and they offer a huge range of sizes. Again, I've often joked that Victoria's secret is that they don't fit anything above a B cup. But at Soma, you really will find the range that many of us need anyway, or certainly need in those first postpartum months.
Yeah, absolutely. Those, I mean, there's always this, I've had this desire to, I have the sexy bra, but I think, when it comes to being comfortable and the kind of clothes that I want to wear, I mean, that's come more later on, but the right off the bat, and especially just adjusting my style, even just having one thing that fits really well makes a huge difference, like whether it's like a sexy bra or not. It just
and Soma does a wonderful assortment also of beautiful colors and laces and foxy animal prints. So you're not limited to that nude one for the long run. There definitely are options. And by the way, I do not own stock in Soma. I just really do think they offer a terrific product and a terrific service.
Awesome.
And if you feel like we've covered undergarments, then let's shift and start talking about what we're wearing on the outside. Now, obviously, your moms are all in a variety of lifestyle situations. So I'll try to talk about garments in terms of pants in general and tops in general that people can adapt to the particular degree of formality or casualness that their life involves. So let's start by talking about jeans, which even in a lot of offices today can be at least casual day office attire. And a couple of things that are interesting to know about jeans. Number one is that you'll look so much more sleek in terms of your own body composition, and also a whole lot more fashionable in a jean with a sleeker, narrower leg. Now, for some people, that might be the traditional skinnies that hug right down to your calf and ankle. Other people might not be comfortable in something quite that narrow, but definitely something that narrows somewhat from the fullest part of your thigh down toward the hemline. Fortunately, so many jeans now have a component of spandex built into the fiber so that you can still be as agile as you need to be chasing little ones or tending babies, and still be comfortable in a pair of jeans. Also, I tend to find that on my new moms, although the younger fashion trend can be really, really low rise, a little bit less low rise can be a lot more flattering and comfortable because it comes up a little more and sort of works as a little bit of a suck you in through the tummy as opposed to cutting into that soft tissue. About jeans. Oh, one other quick thing about jeans, as we're trying to fit back into the jeans that are already in our wardrobe, so often the legs are just fine, but the waistline just doesn't quite make it. And such a sneaky trick for making that work is to take one of those thread-coated rubber bands that people use for ponytails, and you put it through the buttonhole of the jeans so that there's a loop coming out from the top of the waistband and the other loop coming out from the bottom of the waistband. That now becomes the elastic loop that hooks over the button and gives you about an inch and a half maybe of extra length in that waistband to allow it to fit just a little more comfortably. So I know some people use that as they're expanding early in their pregnancy, but it's just as great as to work for you as you're shrinking as well.
Nice. Yeah, I definitely used it early in pregnancy, and I don't know that I thought if I used it afterwards, it was only because I'd left it in those jeans and forgot about it.
Well, as long as we're wearing tops that come out over that waistband, it can work fine, absolutely fine. Now, if people need a little bit dressier pant, my personal favorite for any time, but it's especially wonderful in those early mom years, is a terrific knit fabric called Ponte. That's spelled Ponte, and it's a flexible but firm kind of knitted fabric. So it doesn't give you that sort of flabby, sort of saggy look that a pair of sweatpants might, but it's honestly every bit as comfortable, but gives you a really tailored look. Now, Ponte knit pants are sometimes sewn with a traditional zipper and waistband and all the tailored details of a trouser, and that's fine, but they're also sold with an elastic waist that is sewn in a way that it appears to be a regular waistband, but they pull on and they have a little flex, so they give with your body. They'll expand a little as you need it. They'll contract a little as your body goes back to normal. So looking for those pull-on pants in Ponte knit is another great addition to your wardrobe. The one little caution is that, I guess like with really everything, Ponte knit comes in a variety of quality levels. And if you want the performance of that Ponte can offer you of being stretchable and comfortable but not bagging out of shape and not pilling, which means getting those little fuzz balls anywhere there's abrasion on the fabric, the trick is to look for a Ponte that's really a firm knit. And the way that you know that is to take the garment in the store and take your thumb, and I'll demonstrate it with my dress, although it's not Ponte knit, but you want to push your thumb hard into the fabric and hold it for a few seconds and then move it. And now if you see a little bubble or pucker to the fabric, that tells you it's not going to retain its shape, and you want to keep shopping until you find a Ponte knit pant that is going to work. But once you find it, it's comfortable. You want one with a rayon blend in it so it'll be breathable. It won't be hot like an all polyester would be, and it's completely washable. So what more does a new mom need?
That is so key. I find so many things for women that look good are like dry clean only or gentle hang dry. I mean, I've managed to work out the gentle hang dry, but oh my gosh, I just want things I can throw in the washing machine and in the dryer. Just
Well, and with all of your good clothes, you want to be most careful about the dryer part of that equation. So what I do with my nicer things is machine wash them on delicate cycle, tumble dry them until they're not wet, but they might be still damp, then hang them and let them air dry. Because that drying action, both the heat and the tumbling, are much more wearing on your nicer fabrics than the washing cycle would ever be.
cool. All right, I will make note of that.
Little
I
great
mean, dry things though because it's easier right after the laundry. I have a really bad habit of just kind of leaving things in the dryer if I don't have another load to switch in.
Well, and now think about it. You just got this moist thing warm, and then you let it sit scrunched under all the other warm things in the dryer. That's heat setting those wrinkles as surely as if you had wadded it up, laid it down on your ironing board, and ironed those wrinkles in. So there's a lot to be said for a really loud buzzer on your dryer that says, "Valerie, stop now."
Yeah, that's quite true. Awesome. All right. I have an image you sent.
Yes, we do.
Okay.
We had talked about wanting a sleeker leg, and I so often have people say, "Oh my gosh, I can't wear a skinny leg. My hips will look wide," or whatever. So I found this illustration that it's actually from a pattern, because a lot of my clients happen to sew their own clothes, but it lets you see how much thicker and shorter that woman's legs look in the red pant where there's greater width compared to in the black one or the white one. And I wanted to include both of those colors because I don't want to buy into the really not very accurate myth that black is what's making her look thinner. It's really the shape of the pant leg that's just sleeker. It's just not adding body bulk. And then we included another illustration that shows that same wide leg versus narrow leg in a pair of shorts and a pair of capri pants, because depending on the time of the year and the weather, obviously we're not always wearing long pants. But do you see how much that trims down and elongates those silhouettes? So narrower legs are just really an ace piece of the formula for dressing well, no matter what your stage in life.
Awesome. All right. Yeah, I know I've been hesitant sometimes to wear something that tapers, thinking that it's going to accentuate my hips too much, but I've noticed.
I always tell my clients, don't knock it if you haven't tried it. Now, there's such a thing as too tapered. You can over taper a pant or a skirt or whatever. But a bit of it is just a wonderful formula for almost everybody, which then brings us to, okay, if we've got ourselves covered from the waist down, what's going on from the waist up? And again, there's so many different varieties, but when we're talking comfortable and we're talking washable, you just sort of can't beat knit tops. However, just a basic plain old t-shirt is probably not going to give us the level of style that we'd like to have to keep our own mood and our own energy where we want it to be. So let's think about other kinds of tops that are going to be a lot more flattering, especially in those earliest postpartum days before we've gotten back to our normal size. We really don't want anything that's going to hug our bodies too closely, because even with our vanishing back bras, there still might be a little soft tissue hiding in there. So fortunately, we are in a fashion cycle right now where the stores are full of these sort of fuller, almost A-shaped or swing style t-shirts that fit through the shoulder line, sort of skim over your bust, and then give you additional fabric as the garment moves down towards your hip line. So it's not hugging you anywhere. But that's a great look if the fabric is soft enough that it falls in against your body. After you've delivered, the last thing you want to do is be walking around in something that still feels to you like a maternity top. So these featherweight knits do a wonderful, wonderful job of falling in close to your body. Now, there are a number of sneaky little tricks to help people look their most fashionable in those tops. And the very first thing is color. We get so much information from the fashion industry that we should all be running around living in black pants or dark jeans and white t-shirts, and that's going to make us look so fabulous. So I sent you some illustrations that show several different women just draped in fabric that's black and white, and then draped in fabric in other colors that are more flattering to them. And what I want you to notice is across the top row, you see no matter which one of those women you try to focus on, your attention is just drawn almost irresistibly to that black and white print. Because although we think of it or about in fashion magazines as being neutral, what it really is incredibly bright and high contrast. So it's pulling all your attention. So do you see in each case, we've secondarily draped each of those women in a combination of colors that's a better balance for them and pushes your attention up toward their faces. So they're part of the picture. It's not just about what they're wearing. So If you have a great knowledge of what colors are the best on you, for gosh sake, seek them out. And if you're not sure, let me tell you just a couple of quick, easy ways for getting at least pointed in the right direction. And the first of those is that you'll want to wear colors that are about as dark or as weighty and heavy as your personal color pattern. So if you look at yourself from the neck up and say, how light, dark, or high contrast is my coloring, that's the kinds of colors that you want to steer toward in your wardrobe. If you look in the mirror and go, I have no idea what that woman was talking about in that webinar, I don't understand my personal color pattern, let me give you a quick list of colors that are reasonably, anywhere from reasonably to fabulously enhancing on absolutely everyone. The most universally flattering color scheme that anybody can go to is that turquoise blue into teal into jade green color family. And it's not just that that one's Nancy's favorite. That's not why it's such a great choice. It's a great choice because of the basic artistic principle of complementary colors. So when we're little and in kindergarten, we learn that colors that are opposite each other on the color wheel, when you put them side by side, they look brighter. Bright red and Christmas green are a great example of that. Yellow and purple is another one. They look brighter by virtue of their oppositeness. Well, the underlying color of almost everyone, and certainly the vast majority of Caucasian women particularly, the underlying color of our skin is from the yellow-red wedge of the color wheel, sort of peachy to greater or lesser degrees. And the direct color wheel opposite of that is that turquoise, teal, jade green coloring. So when we wear it, all of a sudden our skin looks just as glowing and healthy as it can possibly be. A couple of other things that work well on almost everybody, sort of a pearl or softened kind of white as opposed to a bright white. Sort of a soft plum, not a vibrant royal, the king's court kind of purple, but something in sort of a dusty range of plums. And then coral. So not pink, not peach, but right in the middle. Not orange, not a blue-based red, but right in the middle. Works really well on everybody. So color choices do so much to enliven our wardrobes and boost our mood. So I'm hoping that people will get out of their white t-shirts and experiment with some color. Another nifty little trick for making a long sleeve t-shirt look more stylish is to push up the sleeves. And who would think that that would make the amount of difference that it does? But what happens is, when your sleeves are fully covered in the same color as the bodice of your garment, and then you put your sleeves down to your side, all of a sudden, visually, your upper body goes from the outside of this arm to the outside of this arm. When you push up the sleeves and now you're seeing bare skin in through here, it's very clear to every viewer that that's a separate part of you, and your body just got about 4 inches less wide on each side. Now, I don't know how many pounds that equates to, but it's a lot.
Yeah, I can absolutely see how that would make a difference. Even just, like passing myself in the mirror and seeing myself just, yeah.
Huge difference. Now, some of the fun tops that are out now with that swing kind of construction have hemlines that go up and down instead of just a straight across hemline. It's almost like an asymmetrical or a handkerchief kind of hemline. And that's a terrific, terrific detail, because now what happens is when someone looks at you, they have the illusion that your upper body goes from the top of your head to the lowest part of that top.
Mm-hmm.
But, and you'll see this especially in this example in the woman in the gray cowl neck in the middle, do you see how that point up to the top of her head defines her upper body, but then your eye sneaks over to the side of her body and sees that shorter hemline exposing all those extra inches of her leg. So now her upper body looks longer and her legs look longer, and in effect, she gets the distance from the high point of the hem to the low point of the hem, sort of counting double in how you see her, which is amazingly flattering. If you look for a second at the color blocked top, the black and white and gray one on the right, that one brings up an important point in that you want, if you're doing that sort of technique, a shirt that has that impact to it, you want to be sure that the most interesting part of the shirt is the part that's up here. If that neckline were not banded in the black and light gray contrast the way it is to pull our attention up, without that, all your attention would go to the gray block right down by our hips, which is not normally where we prefer to have people's focus land on our bodies, right. Partly because it's our hips, and partly because it's as far as possible away from our face, and our face is really where we communicate our identity to other people. Mm-hmm. Now, not every top that you may find will have that asymmetrical or handkerchief hem detail to it. So a sneaky way to create that in tops that you might already own is to take maybe the center front of the hemline or sort of off to the side, halfway between the center front and the side seam, and tuck that into your waistband. Here you're seeing the same woman in the same pants and the same shirt, but on the left she has the shirt fully tucked in, and you see how your focus totally moves side to side right across her hip line where that tuck-in is happening. And in the picture on the right, where it's only partly tucked, your attention follows that diagonal drape of the white shirt and then keeps moving right up to her face. So it doesn't even have to be a new t-shirt that you go out and find with that asymmetrical detail. You can create it with any full soft top that you already own.
Awesome. Yeah, I love the neckline point is really key for me, that having a neckline. And then, but then also I'm short-waisted, so having that kind of lengthened is always something that I'm looking for, but even that slimming factor and the color blocking. One of the things I was always told is to watch out for horizontal stripes, because that kind of widens you, but when it's in a color block, it seems to work really nicely, actually.
Well, and horizontal stripes really can be so misleading. If it's a wide stripe, 3 or 4 inches wide, and it's a high contrast between this stripe and the one that's right below it, then absolutely that moves the viewer's eye across your body and makes that part of your body feel wider. Now, if you're a figure that's relatively tall, but you have wide hips, making your upper body look a little wider actually balances your figure and isn't a bad thing at all. But even if a top like that is not a great thing for you, an amazing thing happens if you throw a casual jacket or a cardigan sweater over it, because now you see just a narrow strip of the stripe, if I can say that 3 times fast. But now what happens is your eye perceives that almost like a ladder, and it actually moves right up the center of your body and makes you look narrower. And there are lots of stripes that are narrower or more contrast, or variegated stripes where the color of one just sort of blends into the color of the next one, as opposed to having that distinct horizontal differentiation. And all of those kinds of stripes also have a tendency to have your eye do that climb the ladder thing and not make you look wider at all. So horizontal design details like the hemline of the top or the hemline of your skirt or pants are much more potentially shortening and widening horizontals than stripes ever are. But almost no fashion magazines talk to us about that, because it's so easy to say, oh my gosh, don't wear horizontal stripes. So wear them intelligently and they can be just fine.
Awesome.
There's one other little tip for tops that people roll their eyes when I tell them this every time. So I am proof, and I brought some visuals for proof as well. But that is the benefit of using just very subtle, small, I'm not going to call them shoulder pads, I'm going to call them shoulder shapers, because everyone has heard that, oh my gosh, shoulder pads are out, they're terrible, they're 80s, they're whatever. And what's out is that giant, like football player looking shoulder pads that were on that old Dynasty TV show. That shoulder pads.
So well, the big ones and the big hair.
The very definition of Texas at that time. But what we're talking about isn't shoulder exaggeration as a design, but rather just shoulder support as a silhouette balancing tool. So in the visual on your screen, you're seeing Melissa, who is a real life client of mine. And in the first photograph, she's wearing the outfit that she came in wearing that day, with that long skirt and then the big boxy t-shirt over it. And not only long sleeves, but in this case, sleeves that were a little too long for her in total. In the picture in the middle, we've pushed up the sleeves, we've pulled up the skirt so it actually fits at her waist, and then we've added the little shoulder support to square off that shoulder line. And do you see how she looks like she's standing up straighter? She looks like her figure's more balanced. You just get a feeling of energy about her whole look in a way that you didn't before. And then the final picture is ponte pants and a basic little turtleneck shell and a cardigan. Cardigan's worn open, so that front strip is doing the same thing to a lesser degree that we talked about with the stripes. And then the shoulder support is in there to give that just a little structure and a little finish. Now, I told you I was also a walking example, so I'm hoping that nobody's been looking at me at this whole video time saying, oh my gosh, what's that woman doing with those honking shoulder pads? I've assumed you just assumed those are my shoulders, but let me show you what happens when they go away. Do you see how it looks like somebody just let the air out of my tires? Yeah. And if I were generous enough to share the full head to toe, which I am not, but if I were, you would see that now my bust line looks lower, my hips look wider, everything benefits. If there's any part of you from the neck down that you wish there was a little less of, or that it was back up where it used to be, shoulder pads are the answer. What I like are these texturized foam ones that just fit right between your skin and the garment. The texture of the foam makes it stick to the inside of your garment, almost like Velcro. I find that they not only stay in place all day, but sometimes when I can't find mine in the morning, it's because when I took off my outfit the night before and either tossed it in the washer or hung it up, they're still clinging to the inside. But now you can see the difference with shoulder pad on one side, none on the other, and you see how it almost looks, even on the video screen, as if I'm leaning that way. So don't underestimate or don't stereotype that little extra shoulder support as, you know, something from probably before some of your moms were even born back in the early 80s.
Actually, I'm glad that you talked about that, because that is totally something that I have stereotyped. Like, I've been like, no, no, don't give me no shoulder pads, But well, yeah.
And interestingly, people often, when I bring it up, they're like, oh my gosh, I cut them out of everything I wear. Well, that's not necessarily a bad strategy, because if it's a washable garment, the first time you wash it, the shoulder pads twist like that, and now you have a big lump on your shoulder as opposed to a natural looking shape. So go ahead and use a single edged razor blade or a little pair of manicure scissors and cut out shoulder pads in a washable garment. Now, if it's a tailored jacket, that's another whole story. You don't want to mess with it. But in a washable garment, just snip them out and then replace them with the little removable ones. It's also worth mentioning that you trim the edge of this removable one so that it fits the width of your shoulders, and then it goes with the thicker part out over the natural curve of your shoulder like that, just underneath your garment. If you're wearing two tops, like a little sleeveless tank and a cardigan, it's fine to put them between the two layers, and that actually gives you even more grip. The one exception to that is if you're traveling and you know that you're going to go through the TSA screening and they're going to make you take off your cardigan. I can't tell you the number of times I've seen my shoulder pads go flying across the little roller thing that runs your suitcases through the screening process. So for TSA, you want them under your underlayer top for sure.
Check. Got it.
Got it?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so what else do we need to cover?
I mean, those are the key things. I don't know if there's more that you have to share. We're getting close to our time. We're not quite there yet, but
do we have a few minutes to talk about accessories?
Yeah, let's do it.
Because, oh my goodness, accessories can make so much difference between a look that just looks like something that you put on so that you won't be arrested for indecent exposure, and something that's actually an outfit. So let's talk just real quickly about shoes. Obviously, we want our footwear to be comfortable if we're going to be chasing little ones, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it needs to be a big, chunky athletic shoe, because what a bright, colorful, or white, heavy sneaker does is pull all the attention immediately down to your feet. And an attention-getting thing on the bottom of your feet immediately collapses your height and spreads your hips every time. There's no two ways about it. So darker, sleeker, lace-up athletic shoes if you have to do athletic shoes, or a comfort shoe like Clark's or some of the others that give you at least a little bit of style and are a whole lot less conspicuous, are a great direction to go. Then thinking sort of top down, one of the things that just adds more impact to your look than people would ever imagine is a pair of what I call statement earrings. And statement doesn't mean, you know, the size of a hubcap. It just means enough that it's going to visually anchor attention up at your face. Because number one, when people are focused on your face, they're communicating with you. And number two, when they're focused on your face, they're not looking at your hips or your tummy or whatever else it is that you're feeling self-conscious about. So let me just show you real quickly how much the presence of my look takes a nosedive when I take them off. Isn't that kind of amazing? So I'm going to put them right back on. And as I am, I'm going to mention that when my kids were little was when I got hooked on clip earrings, because a statement earring that's a post or a wire is just an invitation for little fingers to grab and pull. And if they grab and pull on this, no harm done. Now, number one, clips are not always terribly easy to find. So I did a little hunting online and found, let me find it, a website called blingjewelry.com that offers a terrific selection of clip-on earrings, so you can find them. And then lots of people are very concerned that clip-on earrings are going to be torture devices and leave them in agony. And most of them today, honestly, are more comfortable than that. But if you encounter a pair that is too tight, there's a little gizmo you can order for just a couple of dollars online. It's called a clip earring adjustment key. I found them on a website called Comfees. That's COMFEES.com. And it's a little double prong that fits right into the spring mechanism on the back of the clip part of the earring and lets you adjust it to a level that's comfortable for you. The only caution is to adjust it in really tiny increments because there's no going back. But adjust it just a little, try it, adjust it, try it, and you'll be amazed at how comfortable they can be. Then if you have the time or the energy, some sort of neckline accessory is another great way to pull focus up onto your face, away from your body, elongate your silhouette, all the things that most people want in their look. Now, a necklace is an option, but again, that's an invitation for little hands to claw it off. So I have been really hooked on scarves as a neckline accessory, again, ever since I was a new mom. And the 15-inch square little bandana style is probably the easiest and the most relaxed to do and the easiest to wear all day. Now, I didn't bring one, and we probably don't have time anyway, to demonstrate ways to tie them, but I do have a YouTube channel. It's just my name, Nancy Nix-Rice, Nixrice. I don't think I hyphenated it on YouTube, although I tell people just don't hyphenate. It is so difficult to remember what name you told people you were. Sometimes I feel like I'm in the witness protection program trying to explain what name they might have me under. But if you go to YouTube, search my name, you'll come to my YouTube channel and find a video that shows you all the easiest, quickest, not just easy to tie, but easy to wear all day ways to add a little scarf and pull that focus right up to your neckline. Awesome. And then the last accessory that you really don't want to be without is just a real quick makeup job. So again, I remember once getting a makeup lesson from a professional makeup artist, and within the process of this lesson, I said to her, so how much time do you actually spend on your makeup every day? And she said, oh, honey, not long at all. It's almost never more than an hour. And I just went into shock, like, oh my gosh. Should mention that the same woman also told me that she had been married recently, but she wasn't sure it was going to work out because now the guy actually thought he was going to move in with her.
Oh.
So, clearly she was not living in the same world as the rest of us. But I personally allocate about 90 seconds to a makeup job. Do we have 90 seconds for me to?
Yeah, I think we've got 90 seconds. Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. Well, if you're young enough and you have perfect skin, don't worry about it. But if you need to even that out a little bit, I just love this Instant Age Rewind Eraser foundation from Maybelline. And what I love about it is that the tip of the package is an applicator. So you just go zoop, 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 zoop. And your foundation is literally on and done. Your blush can be whatever you want it to be, but the secret to blush is a really thick, fat makeup brush. A good one is expensive, relatively speaking, maybe 20 bucks, but it'll last you forever. And the beautiful thing about it is that it spreads out against your skin, so it diffuses the edges of your blush. Those little flat applicators that come in the package give you a stripe every time, and you could spend an hour trying to blend that out. This, start at your hairline and brush forward right along your cheekbone, up high close to your eyes, so it's going to bring the focus to your eyes, and just a couple of strokes in each direction. Your blush is done. I happen to have the most unruly eyebrows maybe on planet Earth. If that's an issue for any of our listeners, this clear mascara is a wonderful solution. You work it through your eyebrows backwards against the grain, then brush them up and over. And if you haven't had time to get to the spa and have them tweezed or haven't had time to do it yourself, presto, much better eyebrows. Lip color, there are many great lip stains on the market now that are going to keep that color on all day long. Or another answer is to do your lip color with a pencil. which has much less emollient to it and therefore is going to stay put all day. Then the last step is just a quick little dash of mascara. And I'm sure I can't be the only person who fights with mascara that wants to clump.
Yeah.
So the trick I use for that is to apply my mascara first in what I call a windshield wiper motion like that. So you're applying it mostly to the tips of your lashes. The tips are the colorless part anyway. So if you get color out there, all of a sudden your lashes look longer and thicker. And then just one quick little swoop from the base of the lashes to the tip, and you're done. Literally under 2 minutes. And I have to confess that from the days that my kids were little until today, I really cultivated the habit of stopping and doing a little makeup refresher about 5 or 5:30 in the evening. Not in fairness, I do it in part so that when my husband comes through the door, I'll look pretty for him. But I do it more so because when my husband comes through the door, I see the look on his face that I know means, oh, wow, it's the pretty girl I married. So at every stage of life, I think we can use that little extra reinforcement that somebody besides a 2-year-old thinks we're beautiful.
Absolutely. And I just adore how your face just lit up when you said that. You're just like, oh my God, it was so cute. I love it.
Well, thank you. He'll love hearing that too.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much, Nancy. This has been hugely informative. I have a bunch of notes and I'm excited to start looking at what I have in the closet and, come up with some ideas of places that I could tweak, even with just a couple, like the colors and, some accessories to try and bring that out too. So I'm looking forward to playing with this.
Well, we all deserve to get that little cha-ching those 50 times a day that we catch that quick little image of what we really look like.
Yeah, absolutely. And it makes a huge difference is like every time I look and I think, oh yeah, look at me, like it's, and I've got a mirror right by the door. So when I go to the door and welcome my husband and my kids home, it's like right there, be able to feel brighter and feel more like me, like not like I'm just a mom, but like I'm me, I'm Valerie, like, and then be able to greet them with that kind of energy is just that. I mean, I feel good just thinking about that. So,
well, and it's not like our appearance is the most important thing, but it's sort of the foundation thing. Somebody said to me once that she felt, when she had a run in her nylons, you can tell this was a while back when everyone wore nylons, or was having a really bad hair day, that was all she could think about. But when those kinds of elements were under control and she felt good about how she was presenting herself, then she could turn her attention to the people around her or world peace or whatever it is that she wanted to accomplish in life and put her appearance on the back burner. But it's hard to put it on the back burner when it's nagging at you that it's not feeling good all day.
Yeah, absolutely. If it's something that's dragging you down, you want to be able to do something about it. And, and there's that balance of like how much, that making your outsides fit your insides fit your outsides, and kind of, just reclaiming yourself. I think it's a big part of that for sure.
I like that phrase. I like it a lot. So hopefully there are hundreds of new moms out there reclaiming a little bit of their own identity from the inside out.
Nice. Wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Nancy. And we are pretty much at our time. So just real quick, what are like 2-3 things you really hope that the listeners take away from this interview?
Well, number one is that you're entitled. You are entitled and you deserve to spend the little amount of time that it takes to make a big impact in terms of how you feel about yourself. Number 2 would probably be that across my entire base of clients over 25 years, new moms, old moms, non-moms, the biggest mistakes I see women make are the mistakes they make trying to hide or cover up what they think is wrong with them. If you call attention to what is fabulous about you, I guarantee you nobody will be noticing that thing that is wrong or is wrong in your imagination. So focus on what's fabulous. And if you can't figure out what that is, ask the man who loves you, and he will tell you. Ask your mom, and she will tell you. Ask your best girlfriend, or failing all else, take a picture and send it to me, and I will tell you what is fabulous about you to showcase. And then,
Awesome.
and then do it. Hearing all this information and taking notes and whatever, making lists, doesn't really change anything. But do just one or two things at the start and experience how energizing it can be. And then you'll be hooked in a really good way.
Fabulous. Oh, thank you so much, Nancy. And you have a free gift to share with the listeners. Would you tell us real quick about that?
Sure, I do. It's an ebook that I wrote called 101 Style Shortcuts. So it's quick, easy things in every different aspect of your appearance that you can do just almost instantaneously to make it smoother and more efficient and easier to feel great about how you look.
Awesome. Well, we just, for all the listeners, in the email you were sent with this, the link for this video, you'll also find the link to access this free gift. And I'll also throw in, I'll get with you to get the YouTube link. And so
Sure.
the YouTube link will also
we can do that
for you all as well. So check that out. And thank you so much, everyone, for being here with us. And this concludes today's interview of Motherhood Unlimited. Be sure to tune in tomorrow for another exciting, inspirational, and helpful interview. And we'll see you then. Thanks so much for joining us. Bye.